and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphreys. In the spotlight tonight are Nick Roberts, an accountant whose specialist subject is freshwater fish of the British Isles. Harry Shaw, a former computer science student who'll be answering questions on Nick Cave. Stephen Bell, a microbiology research fellow whose subject is the history of scouting in the UK. And Claire Murphy, a copywriter whose specialist subject is Lin-Manuel Miranda. The rules are simple, as you probably know. 2 minutes of questions on their specialist subject, 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. But the reality can be pretty brutal. It's the clock and the spotlight and maybe even the black chair itself, all adding to the pressure. So let us see who deals with that pressure most effectively and ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Nick Roberts.
Your occupation?
Accountant.
And your chosen subject?
The freshwater fishes of Great Britain.
And the ones that spend at least part of their lives in our rivers and lakes and ponds and streams. 2 minutes, starting now. Which small fish has a native species commonly called the 9-spined or 10-spined, although in reality, each individual can have anywhere from around 7 to 12 dorsal spines?
Stickleback.
Yep. Which member of the salmon family is affectionately known as the Lady of the Stream on account of its graceful appearance and billowing dorsal fin? Unlike other native salmonids which spawn in winter, this species lays its eggs in the spring.
Grayling.
Yep. What's the scientific term for any member of the family of freshwater fish that includes carps and minnows? The term itself derives from the Greek for carp.
Cyprinids.
Yeah. What primitive fish with no jaw has 3 native species, the sea, the river and the brook, all of which in the adult form have a line of 7 circular gill holes behind each eye?
Lamprey.
Yep. The zander or pike perch is native to Eastern Europe but is now found in several English river systems. Its first known introduction was in 1878 to the lakes of a stately home in southeast England. Which home?
Woburn.
Yep. What name of French origin is given to a young salmon or trout fry that has hatched from the egg but has the yolk sac still attached?
Alaven.
Yep. A native river fish is named for the 2 pairs of fleshy filaments that hang from its mouth. It's sometimes colloquially known as whiskers. What fish?
Barbel.
Yep. The bitterling or bitterling carp has an unusual reproductive method whereby the fish's eggs are almost always deposited and fertilized inside a particular mollusk, and the young eventually hatch within the mollusk's gills. What mollusk?
Freshwater mussel.
Yep. What solitary ambush predator is the sole native species of the family Esocidae? It can grow up to 50 inches long, and in addition to eating other fish, it'll take ducklings, frogs and small mammals, and is frequently cannibalistic.
Pike.
Yep. What was the name of the Shropshire clergyman and naturalist who wrote the 1879 book British Freshwater Fishes, which has been described as a classic reference work?
Holden.
Houghton, W. Houghton. Which small native bottom-dwelling river fish with a wide-ranging diet has been dubbed a little living dustbin? Its scientific name is Gobbio gobbio.
Gudgeon.
Correct. You have scored, Nick, 10 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Harry Shaw.
Your occupation?
Former computer science student.
And your chosen subject?
Nick Cave.
Nick Cave, the Australian musician and writer known for his solo work and collaboration with his backing band, the Bad Seeds. Here we go. The young Nick Cave joined a covers band and later co-founded the Boys Next Door, who relocated to the UK in 1980 under a new name. What name?
The Birthday Party.
Yep, the Birthday Party split up in 1983. Cave went on to form Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds with Nick Harvey, Barry Adamson, and a member of the German band Einstürzende Neubauten. What's his name?
Blixer Bargeld.
Yep. Cave's acting credits include a role as a flamboyant rock star called Freakstorm in a 1991 film directed by Tom DiCillo, starring Brad Pitt. What film?
Johnny Suede.
Yep. The album covers for No More Shall We Part in the 1998 Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds Best Of collection are paintings credited to which Australian artist?
Pass.
Cave's 1989 debut novel, And the Ass Saw the Angel, is based on an idea at the core of an earlier screenplay co-written by Cave. What's the title of the screenplay?
Swampland.
Yep. The 1997 album, The Boatman's Call, was partly inspired by the end of Cave's relationship with a British singer-songwriter. What's her name?
PJ Harvey.
Yep. Cave, together with 3 members of the Bad Seeds, formed the band Grinderman. The lyrics of the song Love Bomb on their 2007 album includes mention of 2 long-running BBC radio programmes. One is Woman's Hour. What's the other?
Ghana Squashing Time?
Yeah. Grinderman 2 was released in 2010 and was followed 2 years later by an album of remixes. Which member of the band, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, remixed Bell Ringer Blues for the 2012 album?
Karen O?
Nick Zinner. One of Cave's biggest hit singles is Where the Wild Roses Grow, a duet with Kylie Minogue. It reached number 11 in the UK chart in 1995. Who directed the video for the single?
David Fincher?
Rocky Schenk. The 2016 album Skeleton Tree features a number of guest musicians, including Charlotte Glasson on viola, Ellie Wyatt on violin, and Joe Giddy on which other instrument?
Trumpet?
Cello. Which song on the 2019 double album Ghosteen begins with the lines, Jesus lying in his mother's arms is a photon released from a dying star?
Bright Horses?
Fireflies. Cave has co-composed a number of scores for feature films, including War Machine, Hell or High Water, and Wind River, together with which member of the Bad Seeds?
Warren Ellis?
Is correct. You had one pass. That album cover for No More Shall We Part was painted by Tony Clark, the Australian artist. You have scored, Harry, 7 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Stephen Bell,
Your occupation?
Microbiology Research Fellow,
And your chosen subject?
History of UK Scouting.
A movement started by Robert Baden-Powell, of course, in the early 20th century. 2 minutes on that. Here we go. The first ever scout camp was held over 8 days in August 1907 on an island in Poole Harbour. Which island?
Brindisi.
Yep. Robert Baden-Powell's Scouting for Boys was published in a single volume in 1908. The subtitle of the 1908 book is A Handbook for Instruction in Good...
Citizenship.
Correct. At the first World Scout Jamboree in 1920, Baden-Powell was proclaimed Chief Scout of the World. What venue in West London was the site for the Jamboree?
Deer Park.
Olympia. A country estate in Epping Forest bought for the Scouts for £7,000 by a wealthy Scottish businessman was officially opened in July 1919 to provide a training school for the growing Scout movement. What's the name of the estate?
Gilwell Park.
Yes, Baden-Powell was inspired to set up the Scouting movement by the Scout troop created during the Siege of Mafeking by an army officer who was the son of the British Prime Minister. What was his name?
Pass.
According to the rules of chivalry set out in the reprinted 1908 book Scouting for Boys, the knot in a Scout's necktie serves as a daily reminder to the wearer to do what?
Pass.
Which author wrote the words to A Boy's Patrol song, sometimes known as All Patrols Look Out at Baden-Powell's request? The song was a gift to the Scouting movement for the 1909 Crystal Palace Rally.
Rudyard Kipling.
Yes, the Golden Jubilee World Scout Jamboree was held in August 1957 at the same time as a leaders' meeting at a gathering of Rover Scouts known as the World Moot. It was held in a park in which English town?
Pass.
What's the title of the initiative launched by the Chief Scout Bear Grylls in 2015? It began as a campaign for young people to tackle social issues such as dementia and disability.
Bear in the Air.
A Million Hands, a series of artworks which depict a range of different scenes of early Scouting activities such as coast watching and Pathfinder, is in the collection of the White House at Scout headquarters in Gilwell Park. Which British artist painted them?
Pass.
One Scout tradition that ran from 1949 until the 90s traces its root back to the Day of Work for the Scouts International Relief Service in 1944, which raised more than £30,000. It became known by what rhyming name?
Bob a Job.
Yeah, Bob a Job Day. You had 4 passes, Stephen. Ernest Carlos was the British artist who painted those pictures depicting a range of different scenes of early Scouting activity. Sutton Coldfield was where the Golden Jubilee World Scout Jamboree was held. That necktie that Boy Scouts have to wear with a knot, reminding them to do a good turn, which you knew, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That son of the Prime Minister to whom I referred was Lord Edward Cecil. And you have scored, Stephen, 5 points.
Thank you.
And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Claire Murphy.
Your occupation?
Copywriter.
And your chosen subject?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, the composer, lyricist and actor who created the award-winning stage shows like In the Heights and Hamilton. Here we go, 2 minutes. He was born in New York City in 1980, but both parents were born on a Caribbean island. Which one?
Puerto Rico.
Yep, in the early 2000s, while he was developing his musical In the Heights, Miranda returned to his older high school to teach English. What's the name of the school?
Hunter.
Yep. One of Miranda's earliest on-screen appearances was as a hotel porter in a major American television drama series. What series?
The Sopranos.
Yes. In the Heights began its Broadway run in 2008. It closed in January 2011. Later that year, the first international production of the show took place. In which city?
London.
Manila. Miranda first had the idea to write a musical about the American statesman Alexander Hamilton when he read a biography of him in 2008. The biographer went on to become a historical consultant on the musical Hamilton. What's his name?
Ron Chernow.
Yes. At his 2010 marriage to the lawyer and chemical engineer Vanessa Nadal, Miranda and various friends and family surprised the bride by performing a show tune from Fiddler on the Roof. Which song did they sing?
L'Chaim to Life.
L'Chaim, exactly. Miranda was the co-composer and co-lyricist of the 2012 Broadway show Bring It On, the musical. In the opening number of Act 2, It's All Happening, one character sings, "We're going to gather up every good girl we know. We'll get vertical till we get..." what?
Slow.
Vertigo. Hamilton, an American musical, premiered on Broadway in 2015. Miranda has since credited the actor Hugh Laurie with inspiring the title of one song from the show. Which song?
You'll Be Back.
Yep. In 2017, Miranda was nominated for both a Golden Globe and an Oscar for his original song, How Far I'll Go, from the animated film Moana, but lost out on both occasions to a song from La La Land. Which song?
City of Stars.
Yep. In the early 2000s, he co-founded a hip-hop improv group called Freestyle Love Supreme. The group performed its self-titled show at the Greenwich House Theatre in New York and later made its Broadway debut in 2019 at which other theatre?
The Booth.
Yep. In 2020, Miranda recalled an early encounter with a renowned composer and lyricist who spoke at Miranda's high school. I started, so I'll finish. "It was my first exposure to the process of making a musical," he said. "I can never repay him for that gift. It's as responsible for me being here as anything else." Who was the composer?
Stephen Sondheim.
It was indeed. No passes, Claire. You have 9 points. So that is the end of the specialist subjects round. Let's have a look at the scores. Pretty close. In fourth place with 5 points, Stephen. Third place, 7 points, Harry. Second place, 9 points, Claire. First place, 10 points, Nick. So now it is time for the general knowledge round. And if there's a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes is taken into account and the person with the fewer passes is the winner, of course. And if they are tied on passes as well, there has to be a tie break. So let's ask Stephen to join us first again, please. And you start out, Stephen, with 5 points, but you've got 2.5 minutes of general knowledge, so loads of time to make up. Here we go. Chopper is an informal term for a type of rotary-winged aircraft. What's the usual name of it?
Helicopter?
Yep. Which American singer posthumously achieved a record-breaking 21 UK #1 singles when a reissue of his song, It's Now or Never, topped the chart in 2005?
Michael Jackson?
Elvis Presley. Many former Nazi leaders were tried by the International Military Tribunal in a series of trials which began in 1945. In which German city were the trials held?
Berlin?
Nuremberg. What's the name of the Spanish snack made from curled, ribbed batons of fried dough covered in sugar or cinnamon and often dipped in hot chocolate?
Churros?
Yep. A national park in the northeast of South Africa, one of the country's major tourist attractions, is named after the country's president who first established a game reserve in the area in 1898. What's it called?
Kalahari?
Kruger. Numbers such as pi or the square root of 2, which cannot be expressed as a fraction, are described by a word that means illogical or unreasonable. What word?
Pass.
An alien named Roger and a goldfish called Klaus who speaks German are characters in an animated television sitcom. What's the title?
The Simpsons?
American Dad. From 1970 until his assassination in 1981, Anwar Sadat was president of which Middle Eastern country?
Iran?
Egypt. Which poet and playwright was born in Canterbury in 1564? A theatre in the city is named after him.
Shakespeare?
Marlowe. The dioxide of the metallic chemical element with atomic number 22 is widely used as a white pigment in products such as paint and toothpaste. Which element?
Pass.
What species of animal is Fenrir, one of the beasts spawned by Loki in Norse mythology?
Pass.
The art of cutting trees or bushes into decorative shapes is known by a name that comes from a Latin word for ornamental gardening. What name?
Topiary?
Yep. A professional women's golf tournament, usually held every 2 years to alternate with the Ryder Cup, is contested between teams representing Europe and America. Which tournament?
Solheim Cup?
Yep. What word from the Urdu for dusty is used in English to denote a light shade of yellowish brown? It's also the name of a fabric of that colour, often used to make military uniforms.
Pass.
Which Spanish artist became so fond of a dachshund called Lump during his later years in the south of France that the dog appeared in several of his paintings and sketches?
Picasso?
Yes. Which tree of the genus Acer has many species that include the red, silver, sugar, Norway and Japanese? Certain species are cultivated for their sap, which is used to make a type of syrup.
Pine?
Nope. It is maple. And I could give you your passes. There were 4 passes. Khaki, that colour, the word from the Urdu for dusty. In Norse mythology, Fenrir was a wolf. The dioxide of the metallic chemical element with atomic number 22, etc., is titanium. And numbers such as pi, or the square root of 2, which can't be expressed as a fraction, the word we're looking for is irrational. There you go. You got into double figures. You have 10 points.
Thank you.
And next up, Harry again, please. And Harry, you start out with 7 points, so everything to play for. Here we go, 2.5 minutes of general knowledge. What type of mechanical clock makes a sound that imitates a bird's call at regular intervals? It was developed mainly in the Black Forest.
A cuckoo clock.
Yep. What 1990s television sitcom stars Martin Clunes and Neil Morrissey as 2 characters who share a flat?
Men behaving badly.
Yeah. In a well-known fable, a slave who's thrown into a Roman arena to be eaten by lions is saved when he's recognised by a lion he had previously helped. When he removed a thorn from its paw, what's the name of the slave?
Spartacus.
Androcles. Which African country's Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, was awarded the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts to resolve the conflict with neighbouring Eritrea?
Ethiopia.
Yes. 2 of the 5 English classics in horse racing are open to fillies only. One is the 1,000 Guineas. Which is the other?
The Oaks.
Yeah. In the 1964 stage musical Funny Girl and a 1968 film adaptation, Barbara Streisand portrays a real-life actress, singer and comedian. What was her name?
Fanny Bryce.
Yeah. The London-bound mail train, which was held up in the Great Train Robbery in 1963, had begun its journey in which Scottish city?
Glasgow.
Yep. A bronze statue in London's Kensington Gardens, commissioned by the author J.M. Barrie, depicts a literary character surrounded by squirrels, mice and fairies. What character?
Peter Pan.
Yep. Which figure in the Old Testament has his faith tested when he loses his possessions, his family and finally his health? His patience has become proverbial.
Job.
Yeah. Which singer had UK chart hits in the early 90s entitled Crazy and Killer? He later won 3 Grammy Awards for the song Kiss from a Rose.
Seal.
Yeah. The furcula, once known as the merry thought, is a thought bone between the neck and breast of a bird and corresponds to the collarbone in mammals. What's the more common name for this bone, especially in domestic fowl?
Gizzard.
Wishbone. The main body of an aircraft is known by a name derived from a French word that means shaped like a spindle. What name?
Pass.
Old Carthusians are alumni of an English public school founded in Smithfield, London, on the site of a former monastery. Which school?
Harrow.
Charterhouse. What name of Greek origin is given to the horizontal underground stem of plants such as the iris that produces the shoot and root systems of a new plant?
Pass.
Which broadcast journalist succeeded Peter Donaldson as the host of the Radio 4 series From Our Own Correspondent in 1998? She'd previously been a television news reporter who'd covered both Gulf Wars and the Tiananmen Square protest in Beijing.
Zoe Bald.
Kate Adie. The name Rewa, sometimes translated as beautiful harmony, was given to the new imperial era which began in an Asian country on May the 1st, 2019. Which country?
North Korea.
Japan. And you had 2 passes. That horizontal underground stem of the plant is a rhizome. And the body of an aircraft, you'll be so cross with yourself, the fuselage. However, you have now got up to 16 points.
Thank you.
And now Claire again, please. And you start out with 9 points, Claire, 16, as we speak. is the score to beat. Here we go. Which winter squash with orange-coloured flesh has largely superseded the turnip and the swede in this country as the most popular choice to be carved into a lantern at Halloween?
Pumpkin.
Yep, in the Iron Man films released in 2008, 10 and 13, the title character, Tony Stark, is played by which actor?
Robert Downey Jr.
Yep, what word which translates from Gaelic as visit refers to a social gathering where people take part in traditional Irish or Scottish music, dance and storytelling?
Kaylee.
Yep, which British campaigner founded the UK's first birth control clinic in Holloway in North London in 1921? Her book, Married Love, had been published 3 years earlier.
Marie Stopes.
Yep. In which US state are both of the country's largest national forests, Tongass and Chugach?
Alaska.
Yes, on May the 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile at the Iffley Road track. In which English city is the track?
Oxford.
Yep. A small, thin device used to pluck the strings of a guitar is sometimes called a pick, but is better known by a name derived from a Greek word that means to strike. What name?
Plectrum.
Yep. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog is a common example of a sentence that contains every letter of the alphabet. What is the term for such a sentence?
Acrostic.
No, pangram. The flag of Scotland features a white diagonal cross on a background of what primary colour?
Blue.
Yep. A Georgian townhouse in Charlotte Square, Edinburgh, became the official residence of the First Minister of Scotland upon the creation of that office in 1999. What's the name of this building?
Holyrood.
Bute House. What's the name for the fur traditionally used as a trim on the robes of royalty and peers? It's also the term for the white winter coat of the stoat from which it's obtained.
Ermine.
Yep. The hunter Elmer Fudd is the arch-enemy of a Warner Brothers cartoon rabbit. Which rabbit?
Bugs Bunny.
Yep. Who wrote the 2018 book Fire and Fury inside the Trump White House?
Oh, Martin Walker.
Michael Wolff. When the Crew Dragon capsule carried by a Falcon 9 rocket was launched from Cape Canaveral in May 2020, it marked the first time that a private company had sent astronauts into orbit. Which company built the capsule and the rocket?
Tesla.
SpaceX. In Western astrology, one of the 12 signs of the zodiac is said to govern a period roughly between September 23rd and October 22nd. Which sign?
Libra.
Yes. Joseph Ratzinger succeeded John Paul II as Pope in 2005 and became the first Pope in almost 600 years to resign when he stood down in 2013. What was his papal name and number?
Benedict the 15th.
16th. What term refers to a costly, start it or finish, a costly, often elaborate architectural structure that's built on a whim or a fancy and is out of place with its surroundings? The word comes from the French for madness.
Folly.
Is correct. And that gives you a total of 21 points. And finally, Nick again, please. And you start with 10 points, Nick. The score to beat is now 21. Let's see how you do. Here we go. The annual Stoptober campaign was launched in 2012 to encourage people to give up what habit?
Drinking.
Smoking. The simple game called tic-tac-toe in North America is most commonly known in Britain by what other name?
Noughts and crosses.
Yep. Which royal palace that overlooks the River Thames claims to have the UK's oldest surviving hedge maze? The maze was commissioned around 1700 by William III.
Hampton Court.
Yep. Which British singer's 2015 debut album, I Cry When I Laugh, entered the UK chart at #1? It features the chart-topping singles Hold My Hand and Don't Be So Hard on Yourself.
Billie Eilish.
Jess Glynn. Atosha railway station has a concourse with a tropical botanical garden which is more than 40,000 square feet in size. In which European capital city is it?
Berlin.
Madrid. Joseph Smith's American Moses and Tomorrow is a Latter Day are songs from a satirical stage musical that opened at the West End in 2013. What musical?
Pass.
What name is given to the part of the baseball field enclosed by the bases because of its shape?
Diamond.
Yep. In 2004, the National Portrait Gallery unveiled a work by the artist and film director Sam Taylor Johnson, which consisted of a 107-minute video of a man asleep. Which footballer is the subject of the video?
Harry Kane.
David Beckham. What small bird was depicted on the reverse side of the farthing coin that came into circulation early in the reign of George VI?
The wren.
Yes. In Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, which character marries Catherine, the shrew of the title? On screen, the role has been played by Richard Burton and John Cleese, among others.
Antonio.
Petruchio. Spectacles that are clipped to the nose rather than being held in place by frames that fit over the ears are known by a name derived from French words for pinch and nose. What name?
Pince-nez.
Yep. Peter Parker is the original mild-mannered alter ego of a Marvel comic superhero created in the 1960s by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Which superhero?
Spider-Man.
Yep. Various flowering shrubs, including those in the genus Callistemon, share a popular name that refers to the resemblance of their fuzzy-looking flower heads to a household cleaning item. What is this name?
Toilet brush.
Bottlebrush plant. Which Nobel Prize-winning physicist left Germany in December 1932 after his work was publicly denounced by the Nazi Party? He never went back.
Oppenheimer.
Einstein. When King Juan Carlos of Spain abdicated in 2014, he was succeeded by his son. What's his son's first name?
Felipe.
Yep. The metallic chemical element with the atomic number 74 has a name that is Swedish for heavy stone. Which element?
Tungsten.
Yes, tungsten is correct. You had one pass. The musical that had Tomorrow is a Latter Day and so on was the Book of Mormon. You have a total, Nick, of 18 points. Well, she held on to a lead, so let us have a look at the final scores. In fourth place with 10 points, Stephen. Third place, 16 points, Harry. Second place, 18 points, Nick. First place with 21 points, Claire, which means that Claire goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to her. And if you would like to be a contender in the next series, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. And do join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
When I first sat down in that chair and I saw John Humphrys, I just thought, I'm not going to get any of these questions right. Luckily, I did. I chose Lin-Manuel Miranda because I'm such an admirer of his talent and he works so hard, and I've been really inspired by Hamilton, and he's a writer, Hamilton was a writer, I'm a writer, so there was a lot there that I felt, you know, passionate and interested in.
Miranda has credited the actor Hugh Laurie with inspiring the title of one song from Hamilton. Which song?
You'll Be Back.
Yep.
I can remember watching Mastermind in the 70s when I was a child. My brother used to give me 5p for every question that I got right. That seemed a fortune then.
That gives you a total of 21 points.
We've been doing family quizzes with the same brother. I haven't asked him about how much money I'm going to get now I've won, but it's been a really lovely opportunity for us to, you know, spend a bit of time together virtually and be a little bit competitive and check in with each other. It's unreal. I really didn't think that I would come first. I'm delighted and relieved.